The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent or of the River District Association. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the True North Speaker Series. We are back for season 2. Yay!
Congratulations.
So, thank you. We have the awesome opportunity to start off with Miss Joan Tarpley Robinson. You guys sit back and definitely put your seatbelts on because this interview is going to be one for the record books.
Okay.
I mean, reading Miss Joan Tarpley Robinson's bio, I'm like, oh wow, how do I even get the privilege to interview Ms. Robinson? But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So you ready?
Oh, yes, I am ready. Very much ready. And
I want everybody
thank you for inviting me.
Oh,
I'm very honored to have this opportunity.
No.
Thank you so much.
I'm excited because when we talk on the phone, I always had the giggles. Like
It's fine. It's good to be happy.
you just so full of wisdom, but you so
thank
comical. You was like, oh yeah, that was funny.
Yep. That's me. I would love to hear people laugh. I
Yeah.
really do.
Okay, so let's start out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Miss Joan Tarpley Robinson?
Oh, okay. Well, that's, as I stated to you, to me that appears to be a complex question, but I'm going to answer it. First of all, I am Joan Tarpley Robinson. I was born in Pennsylvania County, Virginia. I was born in a very large family. I'm the 8th child of William and Annie Law Tarpley. They were very humble parents. My father is a sawmill worker, farmer, a sharecropper. My mom was a housewife. I only saw my mom in the house doing things. I have certainly I have 9 other siblings. I grew up with 6 older sisters, and there are 2 sisters younger than I am, and I had a brother older than I am. I noticed as a child, when I think back, I have always felt that I was surrounded by people. I felt that I was in a school, the movie theater. I felt like I was with an audience from a little girl growing up, because when I went to the dinner table, it was, 9 to 10 people there, getting ready in the morning to go to school. Wherever we went somewhere, at one point, we couldn't put everyone in the car.
Wow.
So it was a battle to get beside the window in the car. I mean, that was an honor. So to sit on people's lap, to sleep in the bed with other people, I grew up with this, and part of me now, I do hunger and strive to be in the presence of people.
Yeah.
I love to celebrate individuals, and I know that's from my early childhood. Who am I? I am a retired educator that I'm very proud of. I am very thankful to God for the opportunity to have worked in the classroom over 38 years. I am a pastor. I have served in the ministry of an association as a moderator. I am very thankful to God that I have a gift of faith. I thank God for allowing me to have faith, and I can believe in a better. I don't have to settle for it's going to be so bad, everything going to fall apart. No, I look all the time for the better. So that, to me, that's faith.
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm very honored to be a mom, a grandmother. I'm a widow. My husband died in 1993. I am a supporter of my community. I'm a strong believer that you are to work in your community, do all you can to support your community. I do belong to several organizations. I think we're going to get to that later on in the interview.
All right. So you said you was born in Pennsylvania County. Tell us a little bit about that upbringing in Pennsylvania County, because one thing about the speaker series is to touch the region wide, and a lot of people were born in Danville, or either they transplanted to Danville. So we wanted the interesting talk about what is your views of growing up in Pennsylvania County?
I'm from the area called Whitmill, Virginia.
Okay.
And I was born in a house behind the school that is now Whitmill Elementary School. It's a closed building.
Okay.
But it originally, when I was born, was Whitmill Farm Life School. So I grew up in this small community. We did have a post office, a country store that I fondly remember going to. And when I was growing up, of course, in the segregated South, I do remember starting school, walking past the predominantly white school, walking a mile to a small one-room school designated for African American student children. At the time, of course, we were referred to as colored children or the Negro children. So, but I have a happy childhood. I feel that I was very much loved. I'm very honored. I think it's really wonderful that my father took time to walk me to school and lay down some good foundation about learning. He emphasized the teacher role is to teach, your role is to learn. My father greatly emphasized respect, and he always talked about how you are important, but remember anyone else that you come in presence of, they are important also. And my mother and father talked a lot about respect, love. You're not living in this world alone. My childhood memory, it was a lot of playing. We went from house to house, a lot of children in the neighborhood. So to me, I feel that I know that I have a happy childhood.
And you know, I like it when you said that your father walked with you to school. How long was that walk?
1 mile. My teacher showed us that one day. My first teacher is Loretta Walton William. She actually put us in her car and showed us that 1 mile. And so we walked 1 mile. From my house to that building was 1 mile.
And to go, and we're going to talk about it later, your whole professional career, but going from learning in a one-room schoolhouse to being one of the top professors in mathematics at DCC.
Thank you.
It's power in that.
Thank you.
I love that. So tell us a little bit, because my dad was a sharecropper also. And I don't think people really fully understand when we start talking, I don't know, I just love talking about my daddy, but anyway, when we start talking about sharecroppers, did that economic breakdown where he was running the farm, but somebody else was in charge of the farm, how did that really play into how you as a kid had to do the farm work and be assistants and provided and all of that?
I really did not work a lot on the farm. My father's desire was not to be a sharecropper. So very early on, probably when he had 3 or 4 children, he decided to go to the sawmill. And
Oh,
he
okay.
wanted a job. He wanted to really get out of sharecropping. He said that he knew as a sharecropper, you would never own. All you did was work. In other words, he understood and realized it is a high level form of actually slavery in another
Yep.
term. So working at the sawmill, my part on the farm, we always had abundance in garden. We raised a lot of garden. A lot of our vegetables, they all came from our garden. I have helped people in the tobacco field. So I know the process of pulling tobacco, planting tobacco, stringing the tobacco, working with tobacco in the farm, is it being seasoned for the productivity of cigarettes and all of that. But as a farmer, I was not really, I didn't grow up on a farm, but I have worked in the area of farming.
This is a side note, but one of the things that I really like is Haitian vodka. You know how you
Yeah.
oh my God, I love doing that. And I was a girl, so they was like, "You get out, get that girl off and on the top, get down here and pass it." I was like, "I don't want to pass it. I want to Haitian that. I want to be part of that."
I remember that.
I love doing that. But anyway, tell us a little bit more about, because we talked about the schoolhouse. Tell us a little bit more about what education means to you.
Education is everything to me. Um, my father and mother being limited in getting education greatly emphasized us about education. My parents knew that if we were going to exceed or move anywhere in life, we had to have knowledge. Also, my father and mother had grown up with parents, the grandparents, who could not read and write, and they knew these extreme limitations. Education is so strong to me. I am willing to fight, demonstrate, do what I can to be sure that the city of Danville, Pennsylvania County, yes, these schools have to be open, even if I got to come back and stand and do something. Also, in the second grade of my education, second grade, my teacher started the morning off with, she wanted to announce to us that children in Prince Edward County would not be able to go to school. And she told us how these children would not be able to come and sit in a seat like you are. They are not going to be able to read a book. Well, being an 8-year-old child, at the time, I wasn't thinking about, well, to me, it was like, wow, at home all day long, not a bad setup. But now that I look back, I see, I can hear the fear in her voice. I can hear the hurt. I can hear how she was probably just telling us was a way to let out of how detrimental this was in her life. So as a child, I lived those 5 years. Although I was here in Pennsylvania County, I was constantly reminded by adults or at the church or wherever I went to, there are children in America who do not go to school. Prince Edward County,
The
Virginia.
Brown versus Brown education.
So education to me, if you really wanted to cripple this city, if you really wanted to tear down this state, hit education.
Yeah.
Head Start, oh, it is powerful. When I walk into a Head Start classroom, I see a college professors.
Yeah.
I see the Congress of the United States. I see doctors and lawyers right in Head Start. So if you really wanted to just do away with America, you want to just cut this country out, hit Department of Education.
Yeah.
Stop education. It's knowledge. Where would you and I be today if we did not have the ability to read, the ability to know how to find information, research, ask questions? Education means a lot. And you can see that you struck a high.
Yeah, I like it. Tell us a little bit about your journey that made you go in the directions of what major or degrees or where you wanted to work and what made you want to teach? Like, tell us a little bit about that since it's such a strong will to you.
Well, of course, that woman that I saw that first day, let me go back. When I'm 4 years of age, 4 to 5, I see my 6 older sisters. They get up every morning, they get dressed to walk a good distance to catch a bus to go to Southside High School. At the time, that was a segregated high school from the other predominant white schools in the county. I wanted to go to school with them. I wanted to be with them. I can remember just crying and hunger to go to school. So that first day that I made it to that one-room setting and I saw this woman standing up in front of me who appeared to be knowledgeable, who knew answers, who could direct children in finding answers and knowledge, I knew then that's something that I wanted to do. I knew then that I wanted to be in front of people, that I wanted to give what I could to help someone, but most of all, to be able to be so strong in knowledge that I could give it to someone else. Now, I do thank God for blessing me to comprehend mathematics. My sister Barbara was one of my first tutors. As soon as I figured out that concept of fractions, I can remember very well about the fractions. As soon as I figured out that numbers and the relationship of numbers, it's just like a book opened up to me. So to me, calculus is right on the basis of calculus is right there when you're starting to count. That's why I say to you, Head Start is so powerful. It's what you're going to get in Head Start that's going to help you in your graduate program because it's a very strong foundation. So the desire to teach actually came when I first saw my teacher. And then having to comprehend mathematics, I found out I could teach others what I had learned with math. And I really have I enjoyed the classroom. I enjoyed the kindergarten classroom. I've enjoyed the college classroom. I enjoyed people learning. I personally felt like I always stood in the presence of a genius. I think a lot of people were genius. They didn't know it. I think based on your experience in elementary and preschool and high school, as a college student, you might not think that you can or that you have the ability to succeed, but I disagree with that. I think if you put forth effort, you can always be successful. But I have just enjoyed it. And I'm very happy to say 38 years because I know that probably in this generation, you probably don't have to stay in one job 38 years. In the way things are now with technology, but I've enjoyed it.
One thing in this whole speaker series that you even said yourself, most of the people, when they start looking at their career pathways, when they're most happy in their careers, it's something that sparked in them as a kid. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that education can really take a rim and look at and start asking these kids when they're younger, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, yeah. Because it means so much. Every person that I've interviewed talked about when I was 4 or 5 or when I was in middle school, this happened to me or this person inspired me and it led me to this pathway. Yes. We need more of that because it's showing the impact of success by doing it that way.
I agree with
you. And like tapping into that, what is their purpose versus of, I'm gonna go to college and figure it out. That's what you hear a lot of. You know, just take any classes until you figure it out. You done took away the essence of it.
Yes, you have.
You
Yes.
know, by that time, so much of life has gotten in the way.
Yes.
If we can tap into the purity of it when they're a kid and start guiding it in that way,
Oh, yes.
because it has so much more impact.
I agree with you.
What does it mean? A lot of things that you talk about in your bio is being the first. Being the first. What does it mean to you versus good, bad about being the first?
Having experienced some first in my life, first of all, the honesty of it is stressful.
Yeah.
Individuals remind you all the time you're the first. That means you do not have a model or you do not have a guide that you can look for. After the stressful part, it's an honor. It humbles one. For me, it helps me to be more thankful to God for allowing me an opportunity to serve where I know that without him, I would not have been able to do that. As a first, I try to remember the next individual after me or the next person that would come to be the second. What would they say that the first helped them to be a better second? So being the first in what I have experienced as the first, I look to doing the best I can, most of all, to please the Creator. But secondly, number two, what would they say about what the first did to help them to be in the position of number two?
Did it just happen by circumstance where you became the first, or did you seek out and was like, I want to see the change in this. I want to set the tone. I want to be the first. How does it normally play out to you?
I did not go that route. When I knew anything, I was pretty much in my first, to serve as the first female moderator of Cherry Stone Missionary Association. I had no idea about a first female moderator. My choice in life, I have always tried to get from point A to point B. In the process of going from A to B, I realize now it is by God's hand moving. I realize today we are setting the stage for perhaps next week, next year, next month. But 40 years ago, I was like the average person that wanted to better myself, go to college, get a job, get your paycheck, eventually retire. But meantime, the seasons came in.
Yeah.
And so I happen to be in this role. I am thankful to God that I was able to hear his voice, to go to one avenue, to go to one segment of my journey, to help me to move to another. I think a lot of us make mistakes in looking at right now, when the Lord directs us to go right now, leave here and maybe go to Riverside. I don't feel like going to Riverside. I'm using a practical example.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bothered with that. But little do we know, it is that obedience, get into Riverside, that is going to open up this whole world anew. So I did not set out to be the first. It's just that I was trying to get from point A to B, and God blessed me to receive a first opportunity. But when I knew anything, it was a door opening. I could serve as pastor and then moderator.
Wow. And Latasha Austin talk a lot about that. It's just flowing in it.
It's flowing in it.
And then it automatically just leads you where you need to
Yes.
be. And just do those things that you're supposed to do to prepare yourself to be
Yes.
qualified or to do the work.
Yes, I will agree with that.
I love that.
Yes.
What are some of the most important life lessons that you learned that you feel like is an opportunity to share to others?
It might seem small, but they're large to me. In the early 70s, when I was teaching at Prince Edward County High School, of course, as a classroom teacher, you observe and they evaluate you. I'm sure they do the same thing now. But back in the day, they would come to the classroom, the assistant principal or principal, they would sit in the classroom and they would evaluate how you were teaching that day. My second year, I think is at the second year, I had, the students knew how to do it. That was impressive to me because they've been doing it all the time with the teachers. So students know how to set up, act good, or either they will act up, whatever it takes for your evaluation. So during this opportunity, the assistant principal came in and I was lecturing and I felt good. Students were responding. I just felt like it was such a perfect class. I felt so good. But when I got my evaluation paper, it said good. So I said to the assistant principal, good. I really thought I was very good or maybe excellent. And she said, no. She said, really, I really kind of helped you out. I gave you good. I really should have said, what is the next one? Poor. And I said, why? She said, there was a young man in the back of the room that slept all the time I was there. You never moved from your front area. You never thought enough to check on all these students to see what was going on. And I said, really? So the next day I went back in the class, I found out who the young man was. And I went to him and I said, you caused me to get a bad evaluation. Why you do that while you sleep? And he said, Miss Tarpley, I am so sorry. He said, Miss Tarpley, my daddy lost his job. My mother doesn't work. And he said, right now they got me doing something odd just so we can get money to buy food. I was speechless. I was hurt, I was speechless. And what I did, I sit down, and so of course I went to my dad. I was telling my dad, I was heartbroken. And my daddy said, this is so good this happened to you. He said, what did you learn from all of this? I said, Daddy, I learned I got to do a lot to help people. I got to observe these young people. I got to see these students. I got to talk to them. I got to learn. So my first lesson in life that I learned, it is important that I learn how to listen to you, that I pay attention to what you're saying. I also, now that I look at compassion, that I take an opportunity to try to examine the journey that you're on. That's one lesson. My second lesson in life is observing every time there was a death in my family. My mother's death was devastating to me. I thought I could not live on earth without a mother. My husband's death was, to me, I thought it was the end because I didn't know how that functioned when a good friend is gone. Then my granddaughter died at 4 years old. I was concerned about my daughter, my son-in-law, and the family. So each one of these deaths in the family to me has taken a part from me, but they have given me a new growth. And then the third lesson that I have learned is try not to judge, try not to beat up, try not to put down. I'm very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
I think if I'm going to put you down, I'm really putting
Put down
myself
yourself.
down. Yeah. Those were some life lessons. It's a lot that I've learned, but they were the
Yeah.
three biggest.
Wow. You said, correct me if I'm wrong, you taught in Prince Edward.
Yes, I did.
Where you first learned the
Yes.
importance of education.
Yes, I did, yes.
When your teacher was talking about it.
I was a little 8-year-old girl. She talked about Prince Edward County, and God brought me around after college. That was my first licensed teacher job.
Wow.
Prince Edward County, Virginia.
And that goes right back to the flow of things.
Yes. So I was introduced to Prince Edward at a day that
Wow.
I had no idea what was going on, and that's how I see life, yeah.
Wow.
Yes, that's what I said, wow.
So tell us, who inspired you to be the leader, to be a leader, and why was that person so inspirational?
I think my mom and my dad, I have to go back again. My dad, you say I
Yeah.
love talking about my dad. My dad, wisdom, my grandmother, oh my, I thought she had so much wisdom. They were the people that I feel that really taught, mentored me. They gave me wisdom nuggets to help me to be able to receive other mentors in my life. My first grade teacher, I value that person in my life for opening up the doors of just learning and knowledge of I'm somebody. When I went into the desegregation plan in Virginia, freedom of choice, going from Southside to Tunstall, I met an English teacher, Miss Wells. Miss Wells was a white lady that I really felt that taught me about peace. I felt that she did not show favoritism. Miss Wells taught me how to function and see individuals as a person. No color, no religion, no gender, not anything. You're a person, and a lot of respect. I have to acknowledge my pastors in my life. And then the people that I felt that have caused me to cry, the people that have lied on me, today I acknowledge them because they actually taught me the gift of going to God,
Gotcha.
helping me to say, God, what do I do next? And then if that hurt me that badly, now I know what not to do
to
that hurt
somebody
you.
else. Yeah.
So all of it's a lot of people but I would have to say my parents and my grandmother, teachers and pastors, they played a great part in my life.
Going back, what does female leadership means to you?
I think female leadership, I believe female leadership to me says, first of all, we're looking at leadership and the individual female. But leadership to me is one that is a leader, that leads. I try not to emphasize the gender in leadership. To me, it's just you are a leader. I believe my mothers are female leaders. And they do an excellent job. You can't get on earth without mom
Right.
in the womb. The other capacity of leadership, I just see that, first of all, how does one lead and how does one lead to help the followers? And so if it's female, good. Male, I don't have to necessarily choose you to be a leader because you're female.
Yeah.
I emphasize more the leader.
Yeah. I know when I was talking, and I don't know who I was talking to, and they was talking about the depths of leadership. And they was like, what you see as a leader, it could be the exact same person. And what I'll get from your leadership, somebody else might get something else, but it'd be the same person.
Right.
So you might inspire me through your humor, but somebody else might be inspired by your mathematical gift to teach math. So I think that's also important outside of gender, outside of race, outside of those things, just to say, what am I pulling from this person that's so inspirational for me? Because that's how our energy connect.
Yes.
That's the connection. It's also, I'm feeding off of this. And
Yes.
that's what, because it's what I need to be successful. And seeing what that person brings to the table and whatever their dish is what I need to eat.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I really look at it. And that's what I like about it. When we see women of such a your status, it's not you there because you're female, you there because you're able to feed me.
Right. I have a quality of that feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I really like about that. How do you think you would pass the baton?
Giving more attention to the younger generation, first of all. I do have a desire to work with young boys and girls, especially young girls. I hope to pass the baton by encouraging someone else in my profession, my ministry area, whatever it takes to let that individual know you can go to the next level. So that's one way. Staying actively involved in community, church, all aspects of the community. To me, this helps to pass the baton.
Yeah.
And whatever I can do to assist the next person to get to the next level, that's what I would like to participate in.
When I first met you, you probably don't remember me, but when I first met you is when I was working at Boys and Girls Club. I had just started. It was like 2008, and I was singing in the DCC choir.
Yes.
They was rehearsing at Boys and Girls Club, and we honored you when you first took on pastoralship, I believe it was.
Yes.
And I remember singing in that choir. Of course, it was 20, 30 people probably in that choir, but how I was so empowered by how people was honoring you that day. Yes. I can still see in that church people standing all against the wall.
That's my installation.
Yeah.
You're talking about 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes, my installation.
I remember people standing all against the wall, and like when you said your name, everybody got like cold chills.
Wow.
And I would never, ever, it's just one of those things that you never forget. So whenever somebody say your name, that's always come back to that day. And I was like, I'm singing in this choir, and I'm just one of the many people in this room, but how you touched every last one of us. Because we was all there because it was you.
Right.
Regardless of what, we was there because it was you. And I'm thinking, one person, of course, I was honored that you was Black and female. I cannot leave that off the table. But one person brought the unity of this many people together. And I always was so thankful for you being who you are, because you hear people's names, but when you hear your name, it always brings a smile. I don't
I
care
like it.
who
Thank
people
you.
talking to, it brings a smile. And I feel like we just need more of that in the world. But we also need to acknowledge the ones who do that. So in the midst of all of that, you're talking, I'm even getting more and more inspired by you. But I just want to say thank you in the midst of just being that person that put a smile on somebody's face and impact the masses. Because it's very seldom to find someone can impact so many people. So that's
See,
what I
I was
always.
so honored to have Dama Community College in the church. Because to me, Sandy Saunders
Yep,
and
it was Miss
Sherman have
Sandy.
been
Yep.
so helpful to me in my life. But I was just so excited that the community college can go to church.
Yeah.
And that was through the gospel choir.
Yeah.
We were blessed that the community college received grants, funds. The gospel choir did so much for the campus.
Yeah.
It was a healing area. My daughter participated in the Virginia State Gospel Chorale, again, a gospel choir. And I know that it added so much to her life.
Yeah.
But that's when I was that day, the students came very honored. Oh, I was very
Yeah,
honored.
I'll never get out. That's one of those
Okay,
days
yes,
for
that's
the
my answer.
record book.
Wow.
What does civic engagement mean to you? We talked about it a little bit, but what does that mean to you?
To me, civic engagement is when we participate actively in our community. Whatever we can do actively to better our community. I am a strong believer that as a citizen, you have a responsibility to add to your community. Now, I admire the men and women that take time to pick up the trash off the highway. I admire the men and women that work in different professions to better our community. But when it comes to civic engagement, I believe that you should participate in some organization, or you yourself should work with something that would do something to help some component of our community. We need help in our community. We need help, just simple as the naked need to be clothed, the hungry need to be fed, the children need to be educated, the sick need doctors and nurses. So what can I engage in? What can I participate in? So the organizations that I work in, they are public service. They do things to add to the community, to help the community. I don't want to participate in an organization that's going to tear down one component of our community. Yeah. So therefore, it's back to what can we do to better this community,
Yeah.
which is really bettering a bigger community,
Yeah.
the world. So I see civic engagement as whatever you get involved with, whomever, to better the status of the community.
You talked a little bit about that, but just now. But what is balance for you?
Balance. For me, I have to be assured that balance to me is to acknowledge God is number one. Mm-hmm. I do have a family. I didn't come here alone. I have a family. I have my family. We live within a community. I have neighbors. My neighbors have family. So balance to me is to understand not one thing is to monopolize me. After God, not one thing takes over the total of me. Gotcha. I have to take time for my vacation. Mm-hmm. I have to take time to be educated. I have to take time for my physical and spiritual growth. My well-being is composed of the total of me. So when it comes to balance, I do not mind telling you I have to get my rest. I have to take a vacation. I have to go and spend time, and I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go to the block party. They have the street activities here in Danville. I think that's very important. I think it's important for me to meet you in the street of Danville, eating ice cream and drinking a soda. And I think it's important that you and I, citizens, we can register to vote. I think it's important that you and I support our religious activity. Balance to me is all of me, holistic, all of me. So I'm not just going to stay at the church all day long. Don't talk to you. Don't look at Facebook because I'm at the church all day long. Can't go to a restaurant because I'm at the church. I don't see that as balance. I see balance, it includes all of me. Yeah. Yes, I look forward to going to the high school, Chatham High basketball game. We have members at my church who play basketball, cheerleading. My granddaughter's a cheerleader. All of that's part of me.
Yeah.
And I do try to participate in a lot. And back to church, I have to worship because worship is part of me. Yeah. But guess what? I got to eat. I got to socialize. All of that. So balance For me, I practice being well-rounded.
I like that.
Yeah, I want to be balanced. And I can see people that when you're lopsided, you're into too much of one thing. Kind of do something different. Maybe you
Yeah.
need a vacation. Maybe you need to go to a baseball game. Go to
Yeah.
the damn park over there. Go to a baseball game.
Yeah.
To balance,
Yeah.
when you're balanced, right? You're balanced. But when
Yeah.
we become leaning to the side, the
Oh,
balance
I
is
love
off.
the analogy. Yeah.
That's how I see it. So
I love it. Yeah. With somebody with so much education and wisdom and lived experience, what do you say when you like, I want to continue to learn? You keep saying that. What does that look like?
I want to take an online class. I would love to go back to either Danville Community College locally or Avery to take a class in person. Learning to me is lifelong. I look forward to learning something new every day. I want to constantly learn how I can be a better person. And with me, it's high on my list of how well I can communicate and live in this society with other people. I need to learn more about other cultures, other religions. I need to learn more about the needs of individual. I need to have a good outlook of what is the need. So learning is forever with me, every day, every moment. I hope I never meet you and say, I have learned everything. I don't want to
Yeah.
go any further. I hope I never will say that. I look forward to learning. I look forward to doing. It's something else today that I need to learn.
Yeah.
So learning is lifelong to me.
Yeah. That's what somebody said. Living is learning.
Oh, yes.
As long as I'm
Yes.
living, I want to learn.
Yes.
Tell me, when you say, you want to live and you want to learn, when do you say it's an opportunity to teach? Because it don't have to always be from the classroom, but you bring so much wisdom. When do you take out the time? It's like, oh, I got to teach in this moment. I got to say something in this moment. How do you use your voice, your wisdom to guide in the future? Where do you have those lanes at when you say, now it's time for me to teach versus me learning?
Well, the first way to teach for me, I had forestated to you that I hope to do a conference.
Yeah.
And I will invite other friends to join me. This conference will serve as an inspirational encouragement moment, but also it's going to be a teaching moment to let our sisters know on this journey, don't stop now. It's not a stopping point. Another opportunity about teaching is given a moment. It could be a conversation in a restaurant. It could be at church. Just given this moment, if God permit me to come to you at this point and just teach. A practical example, I was at church one Sunday, and I was talking to teenage young ladies, and they were saying they were going to visit their male friend. And so I immediately said, oh, you shouldn't do that. You should go to the young man's house. Always let them come to you. And then I think I feel like the Lord brought to my mind, well, did you listen to all they were saying? And so I said to them, you know what? I don't know if I really listened to everything you all were saying. And I want to say, first of all, I respect you all for sharing this in the presence of your mother.
Right.
Because they could have gone without sharing with
Right.
the mother. And so we talked about, at that point right then, it was really a discussion on being able to listen and apologize. And I was very honored that one of the young ladies said, you apologized. I said, yes, because it's very important that if I know it's wrong, for me to let you know that I had done something wrong. So the teaching to me is when an opportunity come up now and you teach, but there is a formal opportunity. Now you're participating in a formal setting where I'm going to teach to my community or others that this can happen or it can be better. So with me, I do strive for an opportunity to teach or get over to someone something that I feel that would better their lives.
Yeah. And I like how you said, by just being the example of saying, oh, let me apologize.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's powerful in itself because they learn so much within that 15, 20-minute conversation.
Yes, teaching.
Because if Miss Joan Tarpley Robinson, a woman of your stature, your age, your wisdom, can say, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, I make
Like,
mistakes.
look how powerful that lesson right there is
Yes,
for
teaching.
them in their teen years to say, it's okay to apologize. You was
Yes.
wrong. It's okay. What are you most proud of achieving in life?
I'm, I have to say that being a pastor, I'm very honored. I do thank God for the opportunity just to serve Him and to think that He could use me to stand, to minister, or to lead, or to help others. I'm very thankful for that. Secondly, the opportunity to teach in the classroom, I'm very thankful and I'm proud of that. I'm very happy that I was blessed to marry, have a family. Now I behold my grandchildren, and also live with my sister. The relationship there is still strong. From the little girls, now we're older women, that relationship is strong. I am proud that I have been at this time, this season, that I was blessed by God and I could receive it. I don't think that I'm any better. I don't think that I any more than anybody else, that I have experienced this blessing versus maybe I feel that a woman in another part of the world did not experience what I've experienced. I am proud of the fact that I really do think about and I acknowledge I am important, but everyone else is important also. But to sum it up, I would say the ability to serve God as a pastor, to be an educator, and certainly my personal life, a wife, a mother with children, I'm happy for that and proud.
Okay. What is your sense of fulfillment? What makes you full of life? What that sense of fulfillment?
For me, my fulfillment is striving to do the will of God. My fulfillment is, you hear me talk a lot about helping someone else. What can I do to make it better for you? Is there anything I can do to make your life, your walk, more prosperous, successful? What can I not do to hinder you? What can I? My fulfillment is the joy actually of knowing that having done all I can, that God is pleased with what I do.
One of the things that I asked in season one, and I asked you in the beginning, is like, who is Joan Tarpley Robinson? One of the things I want to start doing in season two, tell me, what would you want, do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be that I served, I was a server. I served God. The individual said she served the community. I served someone else. I want my legacy to be she was a server. That's what I want. I don't know how 50 years from now they said people will not know my name. I don't know what your grandchildren will say about me or if they will ever know my name. But I think if you could say she was a servant, she strived to do God's will to help someone else, I think I'll be appreciative of that.
To wrap us up, I always say, tell us, what is your favorite quote, scripture, or mantra?
My favorite scripture, I got to find it with all of this, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
My favorite scripture is from Genesis 1 and 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of waters. I just focus on the Spirit of God move. I, all the time, feel that God's Spirit is moving. He's moving in us to work with each other, to help each other, so we may move forward to Him. I think everything I'm doing now is centered around getting to God, bringing everybody else with me to God.
Moving forward.
Moving forward, the Spirit of God moves. That is my scripture. I love it. It is one of my favorite. I use it as a quote. However, I constantly rely on the quotes of Dr. Martin Luther King. It takes love to drive out hate. It takes light to drive out darkness. He talked about how we have to have love to drive out hate. He talks about how you have to be your own drummer, in the parade of life. I use a lot of his quotes, but my favorite one that I anchor myself a lot on is that the Spirit of God is moving. And I don't ever look at it's over with, it's done with. I think as long as I can say there is breath in me, we can move forward, whatever it takes.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed that.
Oh, I enjoyed this, and I tell you, this has been so exciting. You have encouraged me and motivated me greatly. I don't know what the other participants got out of this or what they were supposed to receive, but I thank you so much. You've helped me a lot.
Yeah.
You asked me what is fulfilling to me. I do need encouragement. We all need to be encouraged. But it's a moment in my life when I say, God, I need to be encouraged. So you have satisfied that today. You've brought me, and I do respect and honor you a lot. I appreciate what you're doing. And again, thank you for inviting me, and I love this.
Yeah. You guys have it, Miss Joan Tarpley Robinson. Move forward
Move forward.
in the light. Thank you. Have a nice week.
Thank you.